companies are desperate for money, and that means instead of making new, unique content, they go back to the well and pick a franchise that hasn't been worked on in a couple of years, and they announce remakes and reboots, and that is exactly what's happening with Harry Potter, because while people were initially pretty excited for this series, now we know that they're focusing on DEI casting. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, of course, companies want to make as much money as possible, and they know a franchise like Harry Potter has a lot of fans already, and there were a lot of people who were initially pretty freaking excited for this series, but now we're finding out that they are committed to inclusive, diverse casting. It says a casting call for Max's upcoming Harry Potter series has many fans fearing that Hollywood production will race swap or even push sexuality changes onto the main characters of Harry Potter, Hermione, and Ron. Now, we do not know a lot about this except for it's going to follow the books, meaning we're going to see recasts of all of our favorite characters like Harry, Ron, Hermione, Snape. I mean, the list goes on. Everyone is going to be recast, and that already is extremely questionable that they're doing this series simply because it wasn't even that long ago that Harry Potter ended, and we've gotten other movies in the meantime, plus video games like Hogwarts Legacy was fantastic, and people loved Hogwarts Legacy. It would have been much smarter for them to go in that direction for a show because, let's be honest, this doesn't need a reboot, but this is just the trend in Hollywood right now. I mean, look at Percy Jackson. I know that people did generally enjoy the new series, right? But Percy Jackson wasn't even that old from the other movies with people like Logan Lerman. Those movies were great. They didn't need a reboot, though. It didn't need a modern take on what Percy Jackson would be. And yeah, they did race swap quite a few characters, which didn't sit well with people. And that's what, we're all worried about with this upcoming series. We have a certain image in our mind for characters like Snape, like Harry, like Ron, right? We already have these actors' faces in our minds. So all you're going to do is divide the fan base from people who say, oh my gosh, this is exciting, and yeah, we should make this for modern audiences who are going to support anything Harry Potter. And then the other group of people who go, yikes, we really didn't need this. I'd understand if in like 20 years they wanted to reboot Harry Potter, but it's just so fresh in our memories that it's only going to be controversial no matter what decisions they made. I know people have even speculated that, oh, maybe they'll bring like some of the original cast back and they'll put them in different roles, right? I don't think that's going to happen either. I just don't see a way that this turns out extremely well. All it would take is one race swap or one gender swap or one sexuality change, and people are going to be extremely upset. So, of course, it just says UK open casting call for children to play the roles of Harry Potter, Hermione Granger, and Ron Weasley in the upcoming HBO original series adaptation of Harry Potter. And then at the bottom, it says, we are committed to inclusive, diverse casting. For every role, please submit qualified performers without regard to ethnicity, disability, race, sexual orientation, gender identity, or any other basis protected by law unless otherwise specifically indicated. So we could see something like a bunch of race swaps in this. And I have said this before, right? Race swaps aren't always as bad as gender swaps. If an actor or actress can accurately depict a character and recreate the essence of that character and the race of the character is not a central point of the character's story, then yes, some of the times race swaps can work. I personally do not think gender swaps ever work because it completely changes the essence of a character. In this case, I don't think we're going to really see any gender swaps, just race swaps. And look at the Percy Jackson series, for instance. Lance Reddick did a fantastic job as Zeus, and that happened to work out well. And maybe this will happen here, but it's clear that they are making a point to go out of their way and say that they are committed to inclusive, diverse casting, which is definitely a big fear because we know how Hollywood is. We know that Hollywood goes above and beyond when it comes to highlighting DEI in their projects. I don't even want to know what behind the camera is going to look like for this project. They probably have a checklist of a certain amount of women or people of color that have to be a part of this project. And again, I hope that this turns out extremely well. I hope that they cast actors and actresses who can capture the essence of these characters. I just don't see how they are going to cast anybody as Harry or Ron or Hermione and not instantly be kind of a letdown compared to the original actors. Even though a lot of these original actors, yes, are raging SJWs now, they still did a fantastic job in these movies when, they were younger. And people on social media are definitely questioning this decision for the casting, saying, so woke Harry Potter series, here we go, committed to inclusive, diverse casting. Yeah, that HBO Harry Potter show is dead on arrival. And this is an entirely, other point here is that it is HBO. Look at what they did to something like House of the Dragon. I do think a lot of the castings were actually pretty good because it was just the direction they went in with like the Valarians. But at the same time, while that went really good, I don't have a major amount of trust with them looking at the decline of quality in the show in totality, right? It's not just one issue with House of the Dragon. There's a slew of problems with season 2. Season 1 was fantastic. Season 2 was quite a letdown. But while they have done okay in the past, I just don't trust them at all, and you probably shouldn't either. And another element here that's truly hilarious to me is that when this series was initially announced, there were a lot of lefties melting down on social media because they hate J.K. Rowling. They think that she should not be making any more money. There are people like Emma Watson who think that J.K. should hand off the franchise and no longer be affiliated with it, which is disgusting since it's her creation. And of course she deserves to be a part of her franchise. But I just think that there are a lot of people who are going to be fuming over this series as time goes on and we get closer to release, just because the fact that JK is going to be making even more money and she is an executive producer on this series. So I just wanted to point that out because while we're not seeing it really with the casting announcement, oh boy, when this was originally announced, there were individuals that were fuming. Now, at the end of the day, it's going to be a couple of years before this comes out. I'm sure next year we'll hear about casting decisions, and then the year after that it will actually release since they've only, just finished probably writing scripts and getting the story together and picking, people behind the scenes like producers and whatnot, and they're trying their best to cast now. So it'll be a while until we hear any more information unless we get little tidbits and there are rumors that circulate. But right now people are definitely questioning a lot of the wording that they're using for this casting call. People are extremely worried, and hey, maybe this will still turn out to be amazing, but I think the original Harry Potter movies are still too fresh in our minds, and this isn't going to work out for them. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, make sure to give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.